Some names are etched into history not for their contributions, but for the chaos they unleashed. Osama bin Laden, a man who transformed modern terrorism, altered global security policies, and left an unforgettable mark on the world. But how did a wealthy young man from Saudi Arabia become the architect of global terror? Born on March 10, 1957, in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Osama bin Laden was the 17th of 52 children in the immensely wealthy bin Laden family. His father, Mohammed bin Laden, was a billionaire construction tycoon, a close confidant of the Saudi royal family. This wealth provided Osama with a privileged upbringing, access to the best education, and limitless resources. Yet, from an early age, he showed signs of being deeply influenced by religious ideology. At King Abdulaziz University in Jeddah, he was exposed to radical Islamic teachings, particularly under the mentorship of Abdullah Azzam, a Palestinian scholar who preached the necessity of jihad against Western forces in Muslim lands. This ideological shift planted the seeds for what would later become one of the most feared terrorist organizations in history, Al-Qaeda. The Soviet-Afghan War, the birth of a jihadist leader. In 1979, the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, triggering a decade-long war. For Osama bin Laden, this was more than a geopolitical conflict. It was a religious war. He saw the Soviet invasion as an attack on Islam itself. With his wealth and influence, he traveled to Pakistan and Afghanistan, funding and training Mujahideen fighters against the Soviet forces. During this time, he built strong networks of jihadists, supplied weapons, and even constructed underground tunnel complexes used by the Mujahideen. But most importantly, this war solidified his belief that a small, determined group could defeat a global superpower, a belief that would later drive his attacks against the United States. Formation of Al-Qaeda, a global terror network. As the Soviets withdrew in 1989, bin Laden's attention shifted. He saw another enemy, the United States. In his eyes, American military presence in Muslim lands, particularly in Saudi Arabia after the Gulf War, was an occupation. Fueled by this belief, he officially founded Al-Qaeda in 1988, with the goal of waging jihad against Western nations. Al-Qaeda was no ordinary terror group. It was structured, strategic, and highly ideological. Bin Laden envisioned a decentralized network capable of launching attacks across the world. And within just a decade, he would prove how deadly his vision could be. 1998, U.S. embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania. August 7, 1998, a day of horror. Two massive explosions rocked U.S. embassies in Nairobi, Kenya, and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The attacks killed over 200 people, injuring thousands more. The scale of destruction shocked the world, marking the first major Al-Qaeda attack on American assets. This attack sent a clear message. Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda were prepared to strike American targets anywhere in the world. It also led to the first major U.S. response. President Bill Clinton ordering cruise missile strikes on suspected Al-Qaeda training camps in Afghanistan and Sudan. 2000, USS Cole Bombing. October 12, 2000, another devastating attack. The USS Cole, a U.S. Navy destroyer, was docked in Aden, Yemen for refueling. Suddenly, a small boat filled with explosives rammed into the ship, killing 17 American sailors and injuring 39 others. The sophistication of the attack demonstrated Al-Qaeda's evolving tactics, using suicide bombers to strike powerful military targets. 2001, September 11th, the attack that changed the world. September 11th, 2001, the deadliest terrorist attack in world history. 4 commercial airplanes were hijacked. 2 crashed into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. 1 struck the Pentagon, and the 4th, United Airlines Flight 93, was heroically brought down by passengers before reaching its target. Nearly 3,000 people died. The attack reshaped global security, leading to the war on terror, the invasion of Afghanistan, and the eventual downfall of Osama bin Laden. Act 3. The manhunt and death of Osama bin Laden. For nearly a decade, bin Laden remained the world's most wanted man. He lived in hiding, moving between mountainous regions and safe houses, always one step ahead of the CIA and Special Forces. But on May 2, 2011, a covert operation changed history. A team of U.S. Navy SEALs stormed bin Laden's compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. In a 40-minute firefight, they killed bin Laden and took his body. His death marked a turning point, but the ideology he created continues to inspire terror networks worldwide. Lessons from history. Understanding Osama bin Laden's life isn't about glorification. It's about learning from history. How do individuals become radicalized? How does ideology spread? And how can we ensure that such extremism never rises again? If you want to learn about a different kind of legacy, one shaped by music and influence, check out our video on the life and motivation of XXXTentacion. Click here to watch.